How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. By popular request, we are featuring a Celestial Being green-purple deck as our deck tech. You can kind of think of this as the fully upgraded version of the Celestial Drive starter deck. This deck basically plays as an aggressive mid-range deck, which makes a lot of sense for the source material for Celestial Being from Gundam 00, and I would say it's, while not the best deck in the Gundam card game right now, it's a really fun mid-range style deck to play that you could bring to your locals. Like I said, it's not the best deck in the game right now, and it does need a little bit of help, but I think it's decent enough to play, casually at locals or just among friends. And I think more importantly, it doesn't actually need too much more to get elevated to a much more powerful and competitive state. I still think it's like fairly competitive. In fact, half of the deck, the green side, is quite strong, while the purple side is still pretty good. And we're going to be leaning into both of them today. So yeah, without further ado, if you like the video and like what I do, maybe subscribe for more Gundam card game content, as well as a plethora of other trading card game content, but Gundam card game definitely is one of the big focuses of the channel. As always, I will have a deck list in the description down below, but yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our Celestial Being deck tech. Let's do it. As always, we're using one of our Project Red Zone Mecha playmats. If you'd like a copy for yourself, you can go ahead and check out our merch store at redzonerogue.com. We have a bunch of different awesome mecha-themed playmats done by industry and mecha artist Panakas, who's done stuff for a lot. I always shout it out: Azure Lane, Arc Knights, light novels, model kits, TCGs, the works. He's awesome. Anyway, here's our CB deck. Now, as I mentioned, this is a purple and green CB deck. It is the fully realized version of the starter deck. At least this is the version that I like the most. It has some fairly interesting includes in the deck that we'll talk about, because I ended up removing Fatal Strike, and once again we'll talk about this as well. I think this is a great option and a card that I might bring back into the deck a little bit later, but this, once again, I want to go into the details here. Of course, our EX resource is the beautiful New Year's 00 resource, the Chinese New Year's 00 resource, as well as one of our EX base tokens. And then I have a full suite of Setsuna resources, because hey, I'm really liking 00. It's a show that I'm recently watching, and I really like this deck as well. Of course, these are all in Dragon Shield dual mats, and not to shill too much, but I also have an affiliate link with Dragon Shield in the comment section down below for 5% off your Dragon Shield order. Either these beautiful dual mats or the brand new dual mat silvers that look absolutely fantastic, and they go very well with this deck. Some of my favorites. I did a whole video review of these sleeves recently. You can go check that out. I'll put a link to that in the description down below if I remember, or you can check it out on the channel. So anyway, let's kind of set this down, and then we'll start going over all the cards in the deck. So typically what I like to do is I like to sort out the deck in terms of pilots. I like to make what I call pilot piles. Now, for this deck, you have a lot of options for pilots. They came out of the gates swinging with the main Gundam Meister crew from 00, at least the starting Gundam Meister crew from 00, but we're not running too many of them. In fact, we're only running 7 copies total. We're running Setsuna and Lock-On. I think Lock-On has, well, he has the best effects, and he also has the best early or mid-range game units for CB right now. Setsuna has a really powerful top end that I like a lot, but he's not super impactful in terms of link and pair potential, and his mobile suits, the Exia, do pretty well without him. So yeah, we'll talk about these, and then we'll talk about everything else. One kind of cool thing about this deck is every single card in the deck is flavored around 00, which is pretty cool. So their 2 pilots, like I said, are Lock-On Stratos Neil, as well as Setsuna. Lock-On is extremely good. He's a level 4 1 cost 1/2 pilot burst add to hand, and when you pair it with a CB unit, well, every unit in our deck is CB, it may choose an active enemy unit whose level is equal to or lower than the unit as its attack target during this turn. So you can kind of choose things to attack that wouldn't otherwise be able to attack, which is fantastic. Which is what makes, I was going to just say Neil, what makes a Lock-On so good, and kind of like the core fundamental mechanics of this deck. We have a lot of removal, but it's all like combat based, which is why I said this is more of a mid-rangey deck. We want to be aggressive, we want to be attacking a lot, and we want to be attacking into our opponent's things or using cards that allow us to do that. And Lock-On is really, really good. So we of course are running the full 4 of for Mr. Stratos there, and then obviously we're running Setsuna. Setsuna is pretty good. Is a level 4 1 cost 2/1 pilot burst add to hand, and on attack this unit gets an additional 1 AP during the turn, which is pretty sweet. Attacks as a 3/1, and if there are 7 or more CB cards in our trash, all of our CB units get +1 AP instead, which is fairly good. Now we're not going to be really playing into this whole like 7 CB cards in the trash effect as much as I would like. I hope they print cards later that have, you know, a little bit of a bigger payoff. We have some payoffs that are pretty good, but they're pretty late game stuff, and I feel that we can kind of gradually get there over time. And there's not just generally a ton of CB cards that help us do that intrinsically. We have a couple options in the deck, but essentially he's pretty good, but he's just kind of like he's just got stats, right? And we do have units that work well with him, but he doesn't help us like board control like Lock-On does. Now, speaking of his big stuff, we have one of the most powerful units in this deck, just in terms of like raw power level, and I think it's really, really good in general. We have the Gundam Exia Trans Am. This is one of the reasons why I want to play purple green, just because this is so cool and so sweet. It's just powerful. It's a level 7 6 cost 6/4. CBGN drive links with Setsuna, and it just has suppression on it, which is fantastic, which means that it deals double damage to shields. This is a great finisher, and also a great way to control the board, because it says when this unit destroys an enemy shield area card with battle damage, if there are 10 or more CB cards in our trash, we choose an enemy unit with the lowest HP and destroy it, which is extremely powerful. Though we do need 10 or more CB cards in our trash. Noted, it's not just CB units, it can also be bases and pilots, so that is really, really good. We are running a decent number of commands in the deck, but it's a heavy CB deck, so it works really, really well. The big downside of this card is that, well, the big enemy of this card, I should say, are blockers. If you can't actually attack in and get that suppression and get the kill trigger off, well, then it can be a pretty sad time. Luckily, we have a lot of other pilots, well, or one other pilot, and some commands that help us deal with the board, so we can actually smash in and get that suppression and then get the trigger. I note this every single time I talk about this card, but I just want to note it here just in case you don't know. This suppression will not trigger this effect twice, because suppression actually destroys the shields at the same time, so you don't get 2 instances of destroying the shields. So just you know, note that when you hit them, you'll suppress them, you'll destroy 2 of their shield area cards, and you'll get this trigger to kill one of their things. So keep that in mind, but either way, still a really, really solid finisher for the deck. Anything that deals double damage or you get a double attack off is just a great way to finish things in the Gundam card game. And obviously, if you have Setsuna linked up on this, it's going to be huge. It's going to be attacking for 9, so yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. We're also going to talk about the starter deck Gundam Exia. This one's really good too. So this is a level 5 4 cost 4/4. Once again, links with Setsuna, and it says at the end of our turn, if there are 7 or more CB cards in our trash, we choose one of our resources and set it as active, which is pretty nice. So we can basically kind of go all in, use all of our resources, and then get 1 resource back, which we do have a way to use, which is pretty relevant. And also, when you pair this with any pilot, we place the top 2 cards of our deck in our trash, and then if we place a CB card with this effect, we get a draw card. So this is actually really good. We have 10 cards in the deck that are not CB cards, so a 1 in 5 chance, or I guess I should say 1 in 5 of the cards are not CB. I'm not sure of the exact, odds and ratios on everything, but we still have a really good chance to at least hit 1 CB card. And so as a 4/4 that basically draws you a card and helps fuel our Trans Am, pretty solid. But this is one of the only ways to even do that in the deck. So I hope or at all at this point. So I hope for future versions of support for this archetype, especially the purple side of thing, I hope they add more trash support and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I still think this is a pretty sweet value card, and it should be treated as such. It's just a very good value card. It doesn't help us with the board all that much, but it does replace itself, which is really solid. So I like drawing cards. And then we also have another extremely powerful mid-range LR. This is our best play on turn 4. This is the LR Gundam Dynames from the starter deck, and this is really good. Good enough that people are splashing this and lock on into a bunch of other deck archetypes. And it's really good here too. So it's a level 4/3 cost 2/4, kind of. With lock on, it's a 4/4, which is sweet. And it says during a turn, when this unit destroys an enemy unit with battle damage, this unit recovers 2 HP. And then it has during link, it gets plus 2 AP, and then it links with lock on. So like I said, with lock on, it's a 4/4. And then you actually put lock on it, and it gets the additional +1/+2, so it makes it a 5/6 on turn 4 that can attack basically anything on the board, assuming you're doing it on turn 4, so it can attack anything level 4 or lower. And then when it kills it, it like heals. This is an extremely powerful board control card, and it's really good. It kind of mimics that that Amuro RX-78-2 Gundam kind of play. You play them, you can attack something, a pesky, and you still have this big self-healing threat. And this one is a 5/6, which is so good. It can kill something that has 5 power, like a linked up Gundam RX-78-2 with Amuro, because it only gets that additional +1 from its effect on their turn. So it's just a 5/5 base on our turn. So we can actually profitably attack into that, kill it, and then survive to get the heal, which is really, really nice. So this is one of the big linchpins of the deck. It helps us get to the point where we can actually do the Trans Am stuff a little bit later as kind of our finishers. While these I think are really good, this is really where the deck shines. Extremely powerful. So keep that in mind as we go on. Which is why I said earlier that I really would like to get stronger purple support. And then the rest of the units in the deck are kind of like grunt work units. So we have the GN Armor Type E, level 6/4 costs 5/4 with blocker, and it links with either of our pilots, just any CB trait. This is fine. As more CB cards get printed, this is one that I'm looking to upgrade out of the most, or rather first. But as it is now, a 5/4 blocker, it's all right. It's a little bit late in the game, but it can kind of do the job here. We don't want to run too many of these because I feel like they can kind of gum up your hand, and sometimes they're just not even that great. But I think they're good enough now. We have ways to block without this, which we'll talk about when we get to the command cards. We're also running the Gundam Dynames Uncommon. I really like this card. I've been bumping it up. I actually started with 2 copies in the deck, and I bumped it up to 3. I might bump it up to 4. In fact, I'm highly considering taking the Geon Armor down 1 and this Dynames up 1. It's a level 5/3, costs 4/4 with Breach 3. That's all it does. It also links with Lock On. But I mean, like a 4/4 with Breach 3 is really, really strong. The Breach 3, good at destroying your opponent's EX base if we've been playing the mid-range game up until now, and then we can kind of switch on the aggression, which is really, really good. So yeah, I like it quite a bit. 4/4 Breach 3 is just good old numbers. Speaking of which, we have another Gundam Dynames, a level 3/2 cost 3/3 that just links with Lock On. This is kind of like a standard rate, and I think it's pretty solid. A level 3/2 cost 3/3, and it links with the best pilot that we have, so pretty good there. We're also running just a super generic one in the deck. This is the Gundam Kyrios. It's kind of like a Rezel. It's a level 3 2 cost 2/3, but during our turn, while we have a CB pilot in play, this gets +2 AP. One of the best plays you can have, in my opinion, in terms of just raw power and tempo, is on turn 3, you drop one of these and, you know, maybe some other effect if you have like a 1-drop. And then on the following turn, you play your LR Dynames and link it up with Lock On, and then you have that whole effect. You have the 5/6 attacker, smash into something, heal. And then since you have a CB pilot in play now, this is a 4/3, which is really, really good. So you have a 4/3 as well as your 5/6 just on turn 4, and then you just have a big chunky board. This one has a link with Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We're not running them. So this is literally just kind of like a Rezel-like for the deck. And then we finally have the Zero Gundam, level 2, 1 cost 2/2. It's just a little grunt. It's a CB. We're running this because, hey, we want to run all of our CB stuff. And the grunt version of this is what I'm calling these. I used to call them bears, which is a magic term. I like calling these grunts. I think it's more of a Gundam term. So we're gonna be calling these grunts now. Anyway, yeah, it's just a nice little grunt. And as you can see, here are the units in the deck. It's very, very mid-rangey, right? We have some low to the ground, low-cost stuff. Level 2, we curve into level 3. We have our big level 4 play, and then we can kind of like curve out up until 7 and try to close the game out with the Exia. So that's our pilot and unit suite. Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the deck. Now, I usually save the base for last, but I really wanted to talk about the base first here because it's really important to how the deck functions and how we kind of be aggressive while still being defensive. So we have the Ptolemos. This is a level 2 1 cost 0/5 base. It's kind of got the standard base stuff. Burst, you deploy it, and then you deploy it at a shield to your hand. And then it says, while a rested friendly CB unit is in play, this base can't receive damage from enemy units that are level 3 or lower other than unit tokens. So what that means is while we have a rested dude in play, I don't know, maybe like a low cost Zero Gundam or something like that. O Gundam? I want to say 0, but our opponents basically have to attack our rested CB units, or at least remove our CB units before they can actually pressure our base and our shields, which is really good. It means that we can be really aggressive while still being defensive. And it also slows down all of the super aggressive decks as well. Now, this is only level 3 or lower. Once they get to level 4, they can start smashing into us, like, you know, with Amuro or something like that. But I feel like we have a good level 4 counter as well. So I really like this, and I think it's one of the reasons why the purple version of this deck kind of hums the way it does. If you didn't have this, I feel it would be even sketchier, right? And then we have our command cards. The rest of the deck are command cards, and we have some surprising includes. So first up, we have Tactical Visionary. Not a surprising card. This card is fantastic. Level 1, 1 cost. Basically, you look at the top 3, and you pick a CB card, and then you put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom in any order. CB unit or pilot. You can't get the base, which is kind of unfortunate. It'd be actually great if you could get the base. But most of our deck here is CB pilots or units, so we got a lot of hits, and this is the kind of thing where we can make sure we get the right cards that, at the right time. Late game, we're obviously going to be, gunning for our Exias, but, mid to early, we're going to be wanting to go for the Dynames, which is, yeah. So this card's fantastic. I love effects like this. I kind of want every archetype to have some sort of effect like this, but maybe not all the exact same thing, to kind of mix it up a little bit. But I like the Tactical Visionary quite a bit. We're also running Bridge Crew. Now this one is an interesting one. In fact, both of the last 2 commands I didn't run in this deck originally, and I kind of tested them out, and I really like them. Originally, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I was running stuff like Fatal Strike. I was running like the 4 Fatal Strikes, but as I played the deck, I kind of felt that these not only worked better with the themes of the deck, but just kind of worked really, really well with how the deck functions, as a deck. So these are both 1 cost command cards that are removal, but they're like unit-based removal in that we need units to use them. So they're a little bit more conditional than something like Fatal Strike, but let's talk about them. So Bridge Crew is a level 4 1 cost command. Burst, you add this to your hand, which is sweet, and it says main, choose a friendly unit, During this turn, it may choose an active enemy unit that has no pilot paired with it as its attack target. So we basically have one of our things attack any one of our opponent's things as long as it has no pilot attached, which I think is pretty sweet. Once again, it's a little bit conditional, but I do really like this effect, and I do like how we can just attack into stuff our opponent kind of didn't expect, especially, once again, if they don't have those pilots attached. The more I play this card, the more I like it, and I like it in a deck like this, where we have just a lot of like mid-range stuff that we want to be, you know, constantly attacking with. Especially with stuff like our Gundam Dynames, which is pretty cool. And then the final card is another one that I kind of didn't like initially, but I've kind of come around to it, with its Armed Intervention. It's a level 4 1-cost command, burst, draw card, which is sweet, and this one just has an action effect. So this is actually the card that we can play off of the ability from the starter deck Exia, right? We can get that resource back, and then on our opponent, so we get the resource back, presumably you link up, attack in, do some stuff, and then you have this Gundam Exia rested, and you get our resource back. Well, we can actually use that resource to play Armed Intervention. It says, action, choose a friendly rested CB unit, change the attack of target, change the attack target of the battling enemy unit to it. So basically, when our opponent is declaring an attack, we can play Armed Intervention and make them attack one of our rested CB units, which is kind of like a way, it's like a pseudo blocker, but it's like a forced blocker kind of thing, but also gets around any anti-blocker, and also gets around stuff like high maneuver, right? Because we're actually not doing any blocker stuff, we're changing the target of the attack with an effect, which is just good. And once again, this kind of fits into the theme of the deck, as we want to be aggressive and we want to be attacking, but this also lets us be defensive as well, so we can still attack with our CB unit and then direct our opponent's attack and hopefully get a really, really nice trade. Hopefully have them attack into something that we can either do a trade or get a profitable, you know, one-sided kill, like if we have them attack into our Dynames here, which is really, really good. Notedly, you only get the healing trigger on our turn, but it's a 5/6, so it can survive a lot of attacks. 5/6 linked up with lock-on. So yeah, these are the commands that I'm running right now. Like I said, Fatal Strike I think is still really, really good and definitely worth considering. But this is kind of where I'm at now, and I've been having a lot of fun playing with these, both having the combat trick with Armed Intervention. There's not a lot of combat tricks in Gundam, and I think this one can really catch people off guard. And then Bridge Crew just being able to smash into stuff is very, very nice. So, yeah, let me know what you think of these in the comment section down below. I do want to mention one other card, and that's Look of Determination, and I don't think it's great in this deck currently. I did try Look of Determination out. We just don't have enough self-mill to really get it going on. It's the one that's a 2-cost that can blow up level 2 or lower, and then if you have 10 cards in your trash, you can blow up 4 or lower. And by the time you get around to the 10 cards, it's super late game, and we're gonna be in Exia territory anyway. So I would consider Fatal Strike. In fact, I would not fault you if you just jammed in all 4 Fatal Strikes. Just run 4 Fatal Strikes and then maybe 2 Armed Interventions. I think that's a definite like possibility. But I've been really enjoying Bridge Crew, so let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. And that is our CB deck. Like I said, I really like this deck. I think it's a lot of fun to play. It really has that kind of like mid-range strategy that I personally really enjoy. I do think it does need a little bit of help, especially on the purple side of things, where I feel like we have some powerful green stuff with the Dynames. We could maybe use some more, you know, powerful earlier game stuff. Like a lot of the things we're running is fairly generic, I'll just put it that way, outside of like the LRs. So it'd be nice to have a little bit more spice there, but there's a lot of, you know, a lot more 00 stuff that they can put into the Gundam card game, so I have faith that they're going to add, you know, more and powerful stuff to this archetype as things progress. But I think this is a great starting point for this archetype and for a deck like this. And I can't wait to see what they do with it. There's a lot, they can get pretty wild. The Quanti, or however you pronounce that, the Exia goes pretty crazy. So we'll see what they do in the future. But in any case, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the Gundam card game content and the TCG content in general. I appreciate you for being here, and yeah, let me know what you think of the deck. Let me know if you're here at the end. Let me know what deck you'd like to see next. I have some on the list there, but I literally have 16 Gundam decks right now and counting, so we can cover mostly anything. So let me know. Thank you again. See you later, everyone.